I guess I'm on. I had some technical difficulties previously, but I think that I am here now. All right, so what's going on, people? It's your boy Kingdom Coff Bizz. We're doing this again for another Thursday. Happy to be here. Um, it's been a bit of a week, but it's 2021. What can you say? You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm gonna get right into this thing. Since I'm a little late. Just so people know, they already voted. At least the House has voted. On. Hey, Elliot, what's going on? The House has already voted on the impeachment. Apparently, the vote went 232 to 197, and of course, it'll go to the Senate, and then of course with the Senate, you're gonna need 2/3. So, listen, right? We all know that on the 20th, which is this upcoming Wednesday, that Trump will be out of office. Joe Biden will be, getting sworn in, during the inauguration, and our president elect will become our new president officially, as far as him actually being able to enforce his duties as president. Now, the thing that we got to remember is that, more than likely, if there is a conviction that happens, with this impeachment, with this indictment, it is a bit, shaky to whether you can actually fully convict a president, from impeachment or anything like that after he's gone from office. Because normally what will happen is that the president will get impeached, and then, if they actually vote to have them removed from office, then they'll be removed from office. But if the president is no longer in office, then you got to think, well, what's going to happen with that? You know what I mean? That's the part that actually people in the Senate currently are debating on whether that should even be possible or not, right? So you got that going on, but either way, the biggest thing about this whole thing, once again, is that if he does get, which he's already been impeached, if for some strange reason, if a vote happened before he was, officially out of the office, on the 20th, then not only would he be removed from office, but he also would not be able to run again. In the instance that they complete this after he leaves office, then he won't be able to run again. So, of course, for a lot of people, that weighs in the balance of, that's something that's very big. That's something that's very important because for the people that have voted, Joe Biden in, people like myself that have voted him to become the president, would hope that if he does, a good enough job, that he does get elected for another term, and then he'll have, 2 terms on him, 8 years. Or even if, after 4 years, what would happen? Trump can run again. So if you're, from the group of people that don't want him to run again, then, I mean, well, hey, that, then you're going to be getting your wish pretty much with that. So, yeah, so that's one thing that we got to be mindful of. Now, probably the thing that I'm going to be talking about the most today, because it's something that's always irked me, and trust me, I'm a single heterosexual male. I don't have any children. Of course, no significant other. Never been married, never been divorced, widowed, nothing like that. So maybe, when people are hearing me talk about this, maybe it, to some, it can really fall on deaf ears. But I mean, I still have a brain. I feel like I have some intelligence, and I feel like I got some common sense. So if I can be able to decipher something without me being directly involved in it, that is what I'm going to do. So now let me tell you what I mean, right? Over the last few weeks, there's been different things coming out, about women that had babies with men that, the men are no longer with them, or, they've been in turmoil, breakups, reconciliations, all that kind of stuff. And what tends to happen is that normally people are on one side. Either they're on the man's side or they're on the woman's side, and a lot of the time they're on these people's sides more than likely because it relates more to them than than anybody else. So all in all, for anybody that's for anybody that's followed the story about Von Miller and his, I guess, ex fiance now, Megan Denise, it's been like a small war words on Twitter and whatnot about their situation, and text messages have been exposed. And the problem with that is, for one, I just feel like, and this is just me, just keeping it G, keeping it player. I don't really think that anybody's personal life should really be out in the public. I mean, because at the end of the day, for number one, you don't really know how, you don't really know what's going to happen. Somebody, they say all these things, and and a lot of times they're saying things to intentionally get somebody mad, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, sometimes even longer than that, now you wanna have it be water under the bridge. You wanna reconcile. Then when somebody, and I'll speak to myself, somebody like myself, like I kind of come from a school of thought that, like once the toothpaste is already out of the tube, it's certain things that you're not going to fix. And the reason why I say that is because if you deem that there's something that's going on where that particular infraction, where that, particular situation that went down might happen again, like, I remember one time in life, and I might have told this story on one of my other platforms, but I remember one time in life, and this was like the year that my mom had passed. So maybe it was early the next year. Either way, I'm dating this young lady. Like nothing serious. We just smashing and whatnot, spending. It's more like a friend with benefits thing, and we just having like a big argument, big blow up, because in that time, especially, like after, well, she was someone that that had a past that I wasn't really yet willing to come to grips to. And because of this past, I wasn't really fully trusting that things can really go further than this friends with benefits. And of course, dealing with my mom's, if I wasn't really in the right state of mind anyway. And we're having like a big blow up, a big argument, and I remember saying that, well, hey, I've lost the most important woman in the world to me, was my mother. Rest in peace to her. Um, and why you putting all this pressure on me to, to get with you? Like, I'm dealing with this. And that's when she was like, well, fuck you, fuck your mom. You ain't going to be disrespecting me, da 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 da, and all this kind of shit. So luckily, I'm not one of those I'm not one of those guys that will make a decision to, possibly, put me, behind the wall and stuff like that. I kind of, killed the convo, then promptly, escorted her out of my crib, and that was that. And then 2 weeks later, she called me up and she was apologizing to me, and she was saying that, oh, well, I'm sorry for what I said, and I know you're going through stuff, and all of that. And I was just simply like, look, I understand what you're talking about and all that. I understand it. I dig it. You know what I mean? I comprehend you. But bottom line is this: if you're the type to just say stuff like to get mad and all that, you're liable to do it again. So I ain't so we're not gonna continue from where we was at. Where that conversation was left then is where it's gonna stay left. You know what I mean? And I say that to say this, it seems like when people date and people make so many things known on social media, and it's like, yo, like, that's not really what social media is for. Like, especially like Facebook started to keep, in touch with people that went to college with, that, high school and middle school, like maybe y'all not living in the same place together, or because of circumstances, y'all not able to hang the same in person and stuff like that, and you keeping in touch with people. Like Facebook, like, I should not be scrolling, one of my friends' statuses on my timeline, or not even them, but somebody tagging my homeboy girl, tagging him in the Facebook status on my timeline, saying shit like, well, you a dirty nigga, you gave me herpes, this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third, I hope that you ain't give it to my daughter, all this kind of shit, you know what I mean? Like, and then you look up 6 months later, and they're talking about they're engaged. Like, that's the funniest shit in the world to me. So I just feel like on social media, you shouldn't even be exposing that shit, because honestly, like, people of the world that don't even know you personally should not know. And I think, especially like when things are that serious, nobody should know unless you tell them. I would much rather if somebody, like, if one of my homeboys, like me and my homeboys, like when we hang together, we have, deep conversations about stuff all the time, about life, about certain situations, and this, that, and the third. And I feel like, and I feel kind of better about certain situations because my homies are expressing things to me that they don't express to the world, or I'm expressing things to the homies that I'm not expressing to the world. And at the and bottom line, y'all know me when it comes to these social media platforms. If you've seen me before, I don't expose nobody's names. I don't try to talk about nobody, because I don't really try to get too personal about the things that I got going on. You know what I mean? So that's just that. So the whole thing with them on social media and the exposing the text messages and all that kind of shit, that's crazy to begin with. You know what I mean? And because all these people do, for the most part, is that they say some wild shit, they say some foul shit after the conversation, they go on Twitter, and they say this and they say that, and then boom, the world know about it, and then they end up getting back with this person. Because I will say, Von Miller, honestly, like, I only know about you from fucking football. Like, I didn't know your girl before this whole shit came out. I didn't know. You know what I mean? Now all I know about it is because of what I've learned about it, that she was some girl that you know that was stripping with or dancing or something like that, and she was like a member of Floyd Mayweather's girl collection or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know about her from that. I know you from football. If I see you posting on Twitter and all that kind of shit, post on football. Or post about the good things about your family. Don't post about that. And now, you know, she's sitting there, she's exposing text messages saying that you wish that you wish that she got an abortion and that she trapped you and all that kind of shit. It's like, yo, like, that's really not for the world to know. The reason why I'm even referencing that in any way is because that shit actually showed up on my Twitter timeline. Because news sites are reporting this shit. So if I'm scrolling down my Twitter timeline and I want to see, you know, what my cuz got to say, or just see, you know, inspirational words and quotes, I got to see that shit scrolling on my timeline because I can't escape it because it's there. Because it's fucking there because it's trending and all that kind of shit, right? So pretty much with that, I just want to say, as far as when it comes to that situation, as far as when it comes to this Iggy Azalea, Playboy Cardi situation, where she was going on the tirade on IG and all that, putting videos up, and look, this is a situation. Everybody involved should have accountability. It is 2021 now. Dudes should no longer be talking about how women have trapped them. Let's be clear. Men should no longer be talking about how women trap them. I don't know if y'all know how sex works, right? But the way the sex works is that if you have intercourse with someone, and if you nut in someone, then you can, then the sperm can fertilize the egg, and 9 months later, a baby can come. If you're talking trapped and you're saying that, well, you know, you nutted in the condom, you dumped the condom, and then she turkey basted the shit. First of all, I don't even know how effective that shit is, because sperm isn't even supposed to live that long once it leaves its host. Once a man nuts, the sperm isn't even supposed to be existing that long, where somebody can then turkey base and then incubate themselves, you know, and pretty much conceive themselves. So I don't really be knowing how, you know, how true that shit is all the time. I know that people are having sex, and either men are ejaculating in women, or men are ejaculating in condoms that are broken, or pre-cum, or something like that. Or, you know, maybe she said she was on the pill. The pills aren't 100% effective. IUDs aren't 100% effective. Diaphragms, female condoms, and the like. Nothing is 100% effective other than abstinence, other than not having sex with nobody at all. You know what I mean? Like, so let's be clear. Men, it's 2021 now. Women should no longer be trapping you. Unless, because I'll say this much. If a woman actually is taking your nut that you had in the condom that you threw in the trash can, and she is actually able and capable to turkey base that shit and then fertilize herself with that sperm that you didn't intentionally, you know, ejaculate in her, she's doing that. To me, I kind of look at that like condom removal. I kind of look at that like, you know, like if you lie and you say that you're not on the pill, or that you lie, like, or, you know, or like if you knowingly have some kind of STD, like all of that is kind of in the same ballpark. And I say that because that's when you pretty much taking somebody's choice away. You know what I mean? And believe you me, a man still has a choice in the matter, especially if he chose to not nut in you and he nutted in the condom or something like that, and then you're taking the sperm. That's like like the absolute reverse of like condom removal with a man. Like if I'm fucking a girl and I remove the condom and she don't know about it, then like bro, like that can be considered a sexual assault. So I would actually think that just on theory alone, just by common sense and just by logic alone, if we're using that logic in those situations, then that should actually be used as like a form of sexual assault in a way. You know what I mean? But men should not be getting trapped in 2021 anymore. We know how sex works. Women, if a dude tells you, like, because I've heard this from a few women. I've heard this from a few women that I've befriended, that I've known in life, when they've actually said that they ended up having a baby with a man because that man told them that they wanted to have a baby with him and that they promised that they wanted to have a baby. So pretty much, she, laid down with that man. Hey Corey, how's it going? Yeah, so the lady laid down with that man, and and now she had a baby. I feel like if a woman wants to have, if a woman wants to have a baby, then she should want to have a baby. Like I don't think that a woman should have a baby for a man, and I don't think that a man should have a baby for a woman. Like I don't really think that that's the. I don't really think that is the case at all. I don't think that that's how that should go at all. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we should make choices for what we want in life. You know what I mean? So if you're having a baby because somebody else wants it more than you do, that's another mistake as well. But I will say this much. A conversation does need to be had about the women who, I'll say this much, because we do believe that it's a woman's choice, right? And I'm speaking from a man's aspect, speaking to other men in this particular statement, because of the fact that the way that the law works is that it's a woman's choice. So if a woman wants to have an abortion, or she wants to give up her kid for adoption, she can do that as long as it's within legal guidelines. I know in some states you have an abortion in 3 months. I know that some you can have it within 6. Whatever the guidelines are, well, whatever legal policy there is, you know what I'm saying, then that is what, that is what can happen. But I do want someday for the courts to address this, and I'm speaking for myself and other men like this, right? Because of the fact that when I was 17 and when I was 19, both of those times I had impregnated young ladies in that time. Once when I was 17, once when I was 19, and both of them chose to have abortions. I didn't have a say in that, because of course that was her choice, you know what I mean? We lay together, in one situation the condom broke and we didn't stop what was going on. We just kept going. She didn't ask me to restrap. I didn't want to restrap, and the finish happened, and a pregnancy happened where she wanted to get an abortion, and I was fighting that heavily. I did not want that, but I'm not. That's not my thing. But she, that's what she wanted to do. So it happened. Excuse me. So pretty much like with that, I didn't get a choice in that matter. You know what I mean? Just like the second time when the young lady wanted an abortion, I didn't have a choice in that matter either. You know what I'm saying? So I do kind of feel like, in some kind of way, that something should be addressed, like as far as the law goes. Something should be addressed as far as, you know, what happens when, like if a woman gets impregnated by a man, and the woman chooses to abort the child, and the man necessarily isn't on board with it. You know what I mean? Because some people are actually trying to say that it should be introduced that when a woman gets impregnated by a man, and the man doesn't necessarily want to have the baby, then like the man should be able to sign something to say, well, look, you know, I don't want to be the father, and the woman should okay it. Pretty much saying that, you know, well, you know, he doesn't want to be the father. I'll take care of it myself, or what may have you. He's not lying. Hey, what's going on, Trees? He's not liable for any child support or anything like that, because she had the baby and he didn't, and you know, and he wasn't down for it. Because you have to, I mean, and maybe, you know, I'm off base, or I'm just speaking from the guy's perspective, but it is something to be said to the fact that if you lay down with a woman and you impregnate a woman, and if you want the baby but she doesn't, there's like no paper, like there's no court, there's no paper that says that. I'm gonna address your question in a second. Because I was talking about this now, and I'll encompass all this again. I do feel like it's something to be said that, you know, in both of the scenarios I just named is when, you know, either you had unprotected sex, or a condom broke, or the IUD wasn't fully, because from what I hear, you know, IUDs, pretty much any kind of birth control, nothing is 100% effective except for abstinence. So like with me, the question isn't even about, you know, unprotected or not. The question is about, you know, whether somebody's supposed to, you know, handle responsibilities in certain situations or not. And I'm speaking, what I was saying earlier before you got in, Treese, is that a man in 2021 should not be talking about, okay, well, I'll get to that. A man in 2021, and you can, and what I'm about to say, you can tell me if you agree with it or not. But a man in 2021 should not be saying that he got trapped. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, well, for one, if we know how sex works, and we know that if a nigga nut in you, and the egg gets fertilized, that can happen, whether it's unprotected sex or not. You know what I mean? If a condom breaks, if it's not that effective, it's a female condom, it's a diaphragm, it's an IUD, it's birth control, whatever it is. Bottom line, you shouldn't have sex, period, if you don't consider that a possibility for you. If you don't want to have children. But if that happens, and you do, you can't be talking about how you got trapped, because you didn't get trapped when you wanted to fill those raw walls. So you can't say that you're trapped now. That's just a lack of accountability. And I kind of feel like, personally, I feel like it's a lack of accountability on both parties, because I feel like also, like from the woman's aspect, that if a man gets you pregnant, and he's not, you know, he doesn't want to be in the kid's life or nothing like that, I just kind of feel like, just like how the man shouldn't be bad mouthing the woman and talking about, you know, how she trapped me and all this and this, that, and the third, or, you know, she aborted my baby, because I went through that twice. I went through it 2 times where women that I had sex with, where, you know, hey, things happen. One was unprotected, one was with a broken condom, and neither one of them wanted to have the baby. Both of them wanted to have abortions, and I didn't have a say-so on the matter, because of course it's not my body, it's not my choice. You know what I mean? But just like in a man situation where, you know, I'm strictly talking about the bad mouthing of see Trees, you funny Trees, but I just feel like because I'm mainly just talking about like the whole bad mouthing and exposing shit on social media because I'm not sure if you heard about either of the situations with the football player Von Miller and his ex fiance Megan, the niece is her name, where he was saying that he feels like that she trapped him and he wished that she had an abortion or whatever, and she exposed those text messages to the world, or with the girl Iggy Azalea and the rapper dude Playboy Cardi and how they have a baby and in both cases like the girls are saying that they wanted to have the baby, but then the dude pretty much what's going on is that the people involved in both of these, they wanted the relationship and they wanted the sex more than they wanted to have these babies like on some real, and I think like in both of those situations like that's what's going on. You know what I mean? So I just feel like you shouldn't really be bad mouthing anyone because in both of those particular like anytime two people have sex, a pregnancy can happen. A pregnancy can happen. So you can't so as a woman you can't really be down in the dude because he don't want to have a baby, and this that, and the third. If you need to get your child support, if you need to handle those matters, do that. But as far as like bad mouthing him, I don't really feel like he's like the worst person in the world because I can't say that the women that got the abortions on me were the worst women in the world because it's their choice to have it. You know what I mean? I feel like it should be accountable. It should be accountability on both sides, and in both of those situations, I was being accountable for those, and I was ready to be a father in both of those situations. Those young ladies just weren't ready to be mothers in those situations. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. There should be a level of accountability on all sides. Like, and like I said, and like I was saying from the beginning, because of the fact that I'm a single heterosexual dude that doesn't have any kids, don't have a significant other, never had one. I mean, like not one to that extent. Maybe people would say that I'm the wrong person. Maybe I'm the wrong person that's saying it. You know what I mean? Because of course, women have told, like when I've said that to women have told me, well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about the man. So, so I laid down with the man and he ended up not being shit afterwards. But I'm the good one and he's the bad one. You know what I mean? And like I don't get that. I feel like it goes both sides because I feel like when you do that, you lack accountability. And I just don't really like it when people are lacking accountability. You know what I mean? Like there's many things in life that I'll take accountability. That I will be accountable for. I will be accountable, for the fact that maybe it's, as far as what a woman would find in a perfect guy, I might not fit that for a lot of women. I'll be accountable for the fact that I have a commitment issues and trying to work through it. And I feel like, well, the worst way to try to work through it is to try to rush into some shit. I'll take accountability for that. And I will take accountability in the fact that, the next woman that I impregnate, if I ever impregnate a woman again, I want to be able to raise a child because, see, for me, it's more because I think that what tends to happen is that people try to raise children based on how ready they are or how ready they are not. You know what I mean? When people have abortions, it's like you don't know if the kid that you're aborting is Hold on. You said before you share your situation, have I ever heard you bash? No. I'm not. No, never. That's what I mean. It's not applying to you. And I'm sorry, because I was kind of like in my rant bag for a second. But yeah, you don't fit the stereotypes. You don't do that. Let me say that I didn't. I saw the comment, but I was like just kind of like in my bag a little bit. But but pretty much like that's the whole thing. The whole thing about it is that on both sides people lack accountability, and we should accept that and work on that. Because honestly, like, once again, two people have children, and I think that people are more concerned with trying to raise children with the perfect person than producing a great child. And what I mean is that you don't know if your child that you aborted could have been the next. Hey, Missy, you don't know if the next you don't know if the next kid that you abort, whether it's the woman wanting to abort, whether it's the man pressuring to abort, whether it's a mutual decision, you don't know if that child is going to be the future president of the United States, Supreme Court judge, best basketball player that ever lived. The next Ben Carson, like, oh, no, I'm sorry. Just for my first couple of shows, like being back and doing this, because I had to tell my cousin last week, I'm not taking like any like requests as far as anybody like being on camera with me and sharing. Probably not for like the next couple of shows. You know what I mean? So yeah. But in the next couple of shows, yeah. Okay, Teresa, I see that you agree. Missy, you saying so wait. So wait about what? But just but like I said, just getting to the whole thing at hand, I just feel like, hey, I'm just tired of hearing people on social media discuss this stuff. I'm actually tired of hearing people discuss this like in my personal life. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot to type. I got you. Yeah. Okay. I see you, Missy. I see you, Missy. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just get tired of hearing it. Whoever should be, taking care of the kid or or having custody of the child, or whoever decided to get the abortion, that's cool. You know what I mean? That's something for laws to decide. But I'm just getting tired of like women, like me personally, and y'all can bash me whatever. I'm just getting tired of women bashing men because a man doesn't want to take a role in your kid's life, because that's the choice that you make when you have children with people. Just like I don't want to hear men talking about they got trapped. I hear so many dudes act like they don't know how sex works. Let's see, Mister. If you lay down with someone, you need to be prepared to either raise the kid with the other parent or do it on your own. Like exactly, and honestly, and this is the thing. This is the thing. Is like if you have resentment towards the other person, you can have as much resentment as you want. It's just I just almost feel like when people do that kind of shit on social media, or when they do that, like when they're telling other people, it's about trying to tell somebody like how good of a person they are and how shitty the other individual is. Nah, like me, like my boy JC, who's probably right now just because of what's going on, is like one of the few homies in the crew. Well, he's the only homie in the crew that actually hang, that actually hang with, that we actually see each other in person and all that. I holler at the other, homies, phone, group text or whatever, but I actually hang with him. And when we do that, anytime that it comes to me talking about like my love life and him talking about his love life, when we talk to each other, we're actually taking more accountability for our faults and our bad shit than what the other people are doing. Cause I know me, I'm the ultimate commitment issue dude. That you try to have it work. Like you try because you try to think that, well, yeah, if you find a special person, and I'm going to address everything that you just said. You try to be the good dude, and you try to really make it work for the other person. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like you're doing a disservice to that other person when you're not progressing to the speed that they wish that you would. You know what I mean? At least that's how. That's how it is to me. It's like it's just not. And that's the thing. Now let me go into some of these. So let me see, because a lot of shit was just written down when I was talking. Let's see. Missy, I never forced my child's father to take a role or expected it. I was fully prepared to do it by myself, with or without him, and I have been. And then he said, people who do that is extra. No one needs to know what's going on with their baby mama, baby daddy, and all that mess. It's one thing to vent, but not everyone needs to be to have an audience for that. And Tree, she said that your sperm donor told you to have an abortion. When you said no, he said he would pray for your son not to be born. So he did so he actually did the Von Miller thing, because the situation that this conversation was birthed on was when Von Miller had told his ex-fiance that he thought that she trapped him, and she wished for and he wished for an abortion. You know what I mean? So yeah. He said, you haven't seen him since you made him. Yeah, and okay, you didn't put him on child support, and you never will. And then she said, you haven't seen your son's father since you told him he was pregnant with him after a bad breakup. And then you said, Tree said, I don't bash him. My son is not lacking. It's hard, yes. Do I regret it? No. And his actions are not making me or breaking me, because my child is my baby and all mine. I don't have to fight with no one over him or fight with somebody to be in his life. I'm okay with that. And that's wonderful. Like, all it is accountability. I do feel like dudes, because bottom line, I do feel like dudes are scumbags when they say shit like that. I used to remember, like, whenever I would hear, whenever I would watch Maury, and I would hear dudes say the dumbest shit in the world, and they would say shit like, they would say shit like, well, that ain't my baby. Like, she smashed the whole, she let the whole hood smash. Well, you're one of them. And if you're one of them, then you have the paternity test. Not the, you take the paternity test. And if it's not yours, you ain't gotta gloat. You ain't gotta throw it in her face. You ain't gotta, like, niggas used to be dancing and shit on, like, and all that dumb corny shit. You ain't gotta do all of that. If anything, like if you have the paternity test, if it's yours, you play a role and you take care of it. If it's not, hey, just pray that that her son or daughter is gonna be a wonderful contributor and member to the society in the future. And if you actually do want to step up and be a father to a non-biological child, then you do that too. But to be glowing and all that shit is hella corny. Like, that's why I don't even watch that show no more. Like, that shit, like, yeah, in my early 20s when I was a teen, yeah, that shit was the funniest shit in the world. Not no more though. Not no more. That shit is sad, yo. Because the thing that's saddest to me is that, especially, like, I know so many dudes where fathers was out of the life, and and all that kind of shit. They didn't grow with their fathers. Their fathers that passed on. The fathers are in jail. Their fathers didn't want to have nothing to do with them, and then they repeat the same cycle. You know what I mean? After seeing their mom struggling with them. You know what I mean? Like, there was times like when my pops was in jail and all that shit, like mom was struggling. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't want to I might have commitment issues and all that, and I might not have been able to fully step up in that regard, but you don't do that to children. You don't do that to children. You don't. You don't. You know what I mean? Because they can be afforded opportunities and privileges that maybe you didn't have when you were young. It's about reversing the cycle at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So when you putting all this shit out in public, because part of this shit is crazy. Because like I said, because with the whole Von Miller thing, apparently they done said foul shit on social media, broken up, then got back together, and then they repeating that cycle. So now all y'all look corny. You know what I mean? That's why I don't do all of that shit. I don't do all of that shit at all. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm supposed to be a father twice over, and I don't know if I'm ever going to have that opportunity. I mean, because of course I could say, well, yeah, when I get to this age, when this happens, when that, I don't fucking know. My dick can fall off tomorrow. I don't fucking know. As far as like on some biological shit, now when it comes to adoption and all that other shit, hey, that's something else to think of. Like if you just want to be a mentor of somebody, yeah, do that. But to be repeating the cycle, like that shit is hella whack. Let me see. I'm gonna stop on this because I can talk all day. We can talk all day on this, and apparently we have, because we have been rapping on that for about 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm gonna go somewhere else with it. I appreciate y'all comments on it. What am I going to now? Oh yeah, that's out of there. All right, so NBA players bugging out. The new NBA COVID-19 protocols and how these NBA players are bugging out. Actually, let me read out some of them. See, I got cards and shit now. You know what I mean? I got so the NBA players, when they're playing in their home market, apparently they have to quarantine. It's like a quarantine. It's like how they're saying like now in certain areas, just as like us civilians, that if you travel, like if you go on a plane, depending on like whatever state you're in, like they want you pretty much to quarantine, except if you're doing essential activities, like if you're doing essential work, or if you're like going to the grocery store, getting health products and stuff like that. So like it's pretty much just like that as far as that goes. So pretty much like other than like team activities or exercise, you pretty much got to stand pat unless then you traveling. Says players on the road are permitted to leave. I'm sorry. Can you read my own shit? Okay. The players on the road are not permitted to leave their team hotel and to not interact with any non-team guests. So if you are at the hotel, the only guests of the hotel that you're supposed to interact with are other team personnel, such as, coaches, water boy, ball boy, stuff like that. Same to you, Tree. Same to you, Tree. And thank you for checking me out tonight. Thank you for checking me out. Let's see. And it says like all physical therapy things. It says all massages, physical therapy, and other sessions require face masks and 12 feet between players. It says that pre-game meetings are no more than 10 minutes prior to the game. Players are required to wear a mask. in, on the bench and in the locker room, and that players are restricted among. They can't arrive to the arena more than 3 hours before tip off. Funny thing about this is that, like, that's all normal shit. Because when I go, wherever I go somewhere, grocery store, if I'm outside, I got mask on, you know what I mean? I'm separating myself from people. If I'm getting on the elevator somewhere, it's only me. And if it's somebody that's on the elevator already, I'll wait for the next one. It might be a bit of an inconvenience, but boom, that's what it is. And some of the NBA players right now, they going crazy. They bugging out, which is wild to me, because during the bubble, there were no COVID-19 positive tests. No cases. And now you have so many different cases going on because now these guys aren't in a bubble. And now these guys are just traveling. And you see guys doing dumb stuff, like they at parties, they without their mask on and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yo, like, and then they're telling me about what they wanted, what they will do, what they won't want to do. And Missy, I know, because you talk a lot on this thing. You can tell me if I'm crazy, but I know that, like, anytime that I've had, any kind of appointment with a doctor, anything like that, I'm in there with a mask. Of course, if you're doing something where you can have one, then it's like, yeah, it's no joke at all. But it's like, yo, like that's normal shit. Like they are wild with it. See, honestly, and see, this is the thing about it. NBA players, this is the thing. They want to make millions. They want to be able to be wild and free. They want to be able to fuck their wives, their girlfriends, or the Instagram hoes that they got on the side. Let's be for real. And honestly, I'm saying that because if they know, if they know that, oh yeah, and you're right about the heart and lung damage. I actually read a study the other day where they said that post-COVID lungs are worse than, like, the worst smokers' lungs. Like, they're talking about they doing a study where, of course, they're all of this stuff is new. So I'm taking everybody, I'm taking everybody's studies with a grain of salt because everything's so new. So yeah, so I'm pretty much doing it like you, where I'm relating it to the people that I know that have had it, and things and seeing what's going on with them. But they're crazy. Like, they're making millions. They want to just go around. They want to be able to party. They want to be in the strip clubs with no mask on. They want to be around everybody with no mask on. Like honestly, like on the real, the only people that I'm really around with no mask on some real shit is family. And like my homeboys. And like, even when we're doing that, like, we're still taking certain protocols. Like as soon as, like, I step in the homie crib or whatever, like, hand sanitizer, hand wash. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, that's how we getting down. You know what I mean? We're taking it as much as we can. And if I'm out and about and I'm around people, I got the mask on. I'm not even trying to be too close to nobody. So the fact that I'm doing all this shit. The fact that I'm doing all this shit and I'm broke, and they're doing all this shit and they're making and they can't do it and they're making millions. If you're paying me, especially if I'm one of the players where you're paying me 20, 30, 40 million dollars a year, if I'm Kawhi, LeBron, AD, Kyrie, KD, James Harden, if I'm one of them dudes, Steph Curry, if I'm one of the dudes making that amount of money, I wear a mask everywhere I go. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So they're bugging out. They're just mad. What's going to end up happening to them is that they're going to have to go into a bubble again. And a lot of the players, they're upset and they're protesting. And this, I mean, not like outside with like picket signs and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but it's like, yo, it's like, what can you really? Oh yeah, I ain't. Oh yeah, I think we doing extracurricular without the math. Whatever, that's something else. But anyway, right, right, and see that happens. That that happens. That happens. But these dudes are crazy. Like, just go back into the bubble and save y'all season, because last year there were no COVID cases. Now it's different players that are catching COVID. You got teams where they had to step on the. Because I remember, I think it was, I forget what team. I think it was Philly, where because you got to play with 8 players, like you got to come to the court with 8 available players. At Philly, they couldn't even do that. They only had 7 players, and they actually had to put an injured player on their active roster just to clear the 8-man protocol to play the game. I know that there's a game that just got postponed because they don't have enough players. Like, bro, like just do it. Just smash the fuck up. Them boys is wild, man. Anyway, now, oh yeah, I wanted to quickly talk about the NFL playoffs, right? Because I like the fact that this year it seems a lot more interesting. And what I mean is that last year versus this year, you got 5 new teams that are in the divisional playoff round now, the round of 8, that weren't in it last year. The only teams that were in it last year that are in it, that are in it this year are the Packers, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. And mind you, the Ravens, they actually lost in the divisional round last year. So you got those 3. And then you got 5 new ones: the Bills, the Browns, the Bucks, the Rams, and the Saints. And mind you, the Bucks, they won their first playoff game. They hadn't won one since 1995. That was shortly after their 4th Super Bowl run. You know what I mean? The Browns hadn't made the playoffs since 2002, and they won a game. You know what I mean? So it's like boom. Like, I'm liking this whole feel. I find the Brady Breeze game. The Saints and the Bucks would be very, very interesting. We saw what happened with them, in the regular season. You know what I'm saying? And now they get to play each other in the playoffs. And the Chiefs playing the Browns, that's going to be interesting just because, we saw what the Browns did to the Steelers. They smacked them up, you know what I mean? And then the Bills and the Ravens. Because the funny thing about it is because the Bills came in as the number 2 seed, and the Ravens, came in as the number 5. But the tables are kind of turned because, see, last year Lamar Jackson was the MVP, and the Ravens were the overall number 1 seed. They got a first round bye, and they lost to the same team that they beat. They lost to the Titans. You know what I mean? So, but of course now the Bills are the 2 seed, the Ravens are the 5th seed. They kind of seem like the Ravens will be the underdog, but you kind of figure that at least the Ravens, that they got MVP, player Lamar Jackson, they shouldn't really be, you know what I mean, underdogs, but that's going to be interesting. And I'll say this much. Special shout out to your team. I'll say the Washington football team. That kid, and correct me if I'm not pronouncing this. Well, you can't really correct unless you speak. You can just say in the comments if it's wrong or not. I believe his name is Heineke. I think his last name is Heineke. He played with a lot of heart and he played with a lot of guts. I don't think he's. I don't think he'll be like a good starting quarterback in the long run. At least from where he is now, he'll have to improve a lot. But he played with heart, and they they played their hearts out. You respected them for winning the division. In the same division as the trash ass Cowboys, my team, trash Giants, and trash Eagles. Just want to make a special shout out because the thing about me, I know how some of my fellow Cowboys fans are. I don't agree with a lot of them. You know what I mean? I'll admit when we lost, I'm not one of them that that says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make the Super Bowl every year." It's a wait and see approach. We haven't made an NFC Championship game in 25 years. So yeah, my team got to show me something. I'm not just running around and just saying that they're America's team. You know, like no, they got to show me something. You know what I mean? And we definitely got work to do, and that's that. But like I said, I'm liking to see what's going on. And actually, let me just go to some quick predictions. Let's see. I feel like next week, in the AFC Championship game, it'll be the Chiefs versus the Ravens, and I feel like next week in the NFC Championship game, it will be the Bucks and the Packers. And as much as I want to pick the Rams in that game, I just can't do it. I mean, I know that their defense is pretty good, but something just tells me that the Packers are going to win it. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. But it's definitely a divisional round where I wouldn't be surprised, whatever the results are in any of those games. It ain't no pushovers in none of those games, you know what I mean? And that's just going to end up being lovely. So now, let me just finish this out with just, a couple of quick things before I get off of here. Joe Biden, today, pretty much, announced another COVID relief plan, which totals at about $1.9 trillion. Of course, it's something that the plan gets introduced and Congress has to vote on it, of course. And then, of course, he's got to actually be in office and whatever, it's, for that to go through. But apparently, he's trying to give people like the rest of their, stimulus checks. Because, of course, they were trying to get, $2,000 stimulus checks. They only got $600. He's trying to make it where you get the other $1,400 of that $2,000. And he's trying, and of course, he's introducing, student loan relief into that plan. And of course, more widespread with vaccine and with the coronavirus cover. So we're going to see how that goes. You know what I mean? Once again, it's a plan that he's introducing, that he's announcing to the public. But, of course, it actually has to be put through certain protocols to be voted on. Because, of course, just like with Trump, you can make, like, if he wanted to, he can make an executive order. But he's not going to have the allocated funding. So then it'll be about whether somebody actually wants to enforce it or not. And we don't know how easy they're going to, just be able to enforce an executive order for $1.9 trillion without Congress, actually putting stuff on the dotted line. The James Harden trade, that was big. James Harden is now a member of the Brooklyn Nets. Apparently, the trio with KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, and of course, that's contingent on whether Kyrie Irving will actually return to the team. He's missed, I believe, at the time of this taping, about 5 or 6 games straight. You know what I mean? And then, of course, he exposed himself to potential, coronavirus, and all that kind of stuff just by being somewhere, like without a mask and then actually, and it actually being documented and being on camera. But still go Lakers, and I still think, that my Lakers is going to get the chip, hey, we the defending champs, somebody got to beat us for. You know what I mean? Urban Meyer, the previously disgraced college coach, that had to, get out of Ohio State because of certain things. And of course, he was the coach at Florida while Aaron Hernandez was doing this thing on the football field and off the football field. But Urban Meyer, he decided to make a jump to the NFL ranks. He's officially now I guess not officially, but he's agreed to being the head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is something that, I mean, hey, what's going to happen? I mean, they currently have, I believe that Jacksonville is the one that has the number one overall seed in the draft, which means that they might be, drafting Trevor Lawrence, and then, and then you have Urban Meyer, and then, if they can put some pieces in place, and that could be something that's very interesting. And lastly, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian might be divorcing, and I know that people are making their jokes about Jeffree Star and all that kind of shit. Somebody's actually been exposed as lying about that intel or whatever, but I'm just going to say that nobody wants to see a divorce, and they got a bunch of kids. Hopefully everything's going to go right with that situation, and get well Kanye, because we know you ain't right in the head, bro. We all kind of want you to get out, you know what I mean? Just don't be around any teacups right now. Don't be around any teacups with the spoon. You know what I mean? That could be the death of you, literally. But that's pretty much it for the day. Thanks to anybody that was checking me out, anybody that was commenting, anybody that will check it out, and they will comment in the future. You already know next Thursday, 8 p.m. You already know how we get down. Facebook Live, another episode of the Kingdom of Coff Bizz. And I had a delay on YouTube this week, but I'll make sure that on YouTube at 7 p.m. that the video will be there. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And so for anybody that actually, has YouTube, they want to see it on that, after I might, make some edits and things of that nature, then you can do that as well. So y'all take it easy. Y'all be out. Peace.